for us having better internet here, particularly based on yesterday's canceling of meetings. And baseball hitting 333 is awesome, but in running meetings, a third didn't work too well. I appreciate everybody's patience.
Well, yesterday was not really the internet's fault. So, but we do need better internet.
Oh, really? It wasn't my fault. I'm begging.
Well, we just.
It was a Zoom thing.
It was your fault, Bob.
It was my fault.
It was your fault, Bob.
Hey, you know, that's kind of been the story of my life. I got
That's what June told us anyway.
Yep. Okay. Good morning. Thanks for coming. Hopefully everybody's doing well. I said to June this morning, I said, all this rain that we have is God's way of keeping everybody contained still during COVID. So it's like, if it's raining. She was going to go out for a walk, and she said, that's raining, I'm not going. I said, okay, good for you. All right, well, we really have a lot to try to cover in a short period of time. So we're going to be brief and get to the point if that's humanly possible. I'm going to, based on, I guess the first thing we should do before we start talking is approval of the minutes. Anybody want to motion to approve the minutes from the last time?
I'll make the motion because I thought they were wonderful.
Perfect. and per my note, today's going to be wonderful too, right, Holly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You owe me, Bob.
I owe you big time.
I'll second that motion.
You know what I'll do? I'll treat you to dinner out of my expense account from being the current chairman of the committee. How about that? All right. Who was the second? Anybody just raise
Bill.
their hand?
Bill
All right,
did.
good. Perfect. Okay. Well, we're going to skip a little bit on the agenda because we have our marketing, let me put it, the other marketing guru, Doug Hollingsworth, who's with us today, and he's CEO of Golf Life Marketing, who we've gone ahead and contracted with to do the other marketing that we don't feel capable of doing. And he's got other things to do, so I'm pushing him to the forefront. Let him talk if we need to have any discussions. Now, before the last meeting, I sent out his ideas of how we're going to, what he's going to do for us. So I'm just going to, at this point, put it in Doug's hands, let him discuss. We can have some discussion if we need to, and then we'll go on to the bullet points. All yours, Doug.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. And I know it's a little confusing there because I am on my travel writer's laptop. So I've never been called Mike, but if anybody wants to call me Mike, that's fine. Up there. So I just noticed that a little while ago. I'm like, oh, you know, I haven't met all of y'all. And so I'm like, what is it? They say Doug, but it says Mike on this. I'm like, no, this is Mike May, who I mentioned earlier, who's a golf travel writer, international golf travel writer who works for us. And he's out of West Palm Beach. And so we're up here for the week on the Georgia coast promoting the trail and doing quite a few things that are very important. And then he reaches out to all his people all over the world that promote what we're doing. And so it's great to have Mike. So Mike was very nice to, we're sitting here in his hotel room and on his computer and go from there. But I'm very excited. I look forward to meeting all of y'all. And I'm very excited about what I have, started here. And I actually started this a few years ago. Some of you might know that I came up and talked to some members. Gosh, it was in 13 or 14 or something like that, because I've always loved Sky Valley. You have a wonderful community up there, and the world needs to know about Sky Valley so they can come buy homes or come play golf or, just come up and vacation and do other things that are around the area. So with Howard's help last year, we got you guys on the Georgia Golf Trail, as you pretty well know, and you've seen a lot of things that we've done for Sky Valley. And I just asked Mike if he had been to Sky Valley, and he said yes. So we got to get Mike up to Sky Valley sometime soon and play your wonderful golf course and let him see everything. And he does a lot of stuff with social media. So I'm very fortunate to have a lot of people that work with me internationally, not just nationally here in Georgia, that are able to help me do things that really doesn't cost a lot of money, which is exciting. So that way I can pass on the savings to you guys and other people, and continue our process of what we're trying to do to build Georgia up. And we're trying to do that through different ways, different means. Golfers who we know have money, who can come up and buy that second home or retirement home, or bring up groups or corporate outings or whatever it may be. So we have a lot of stuff on the agenda. And so what I had done with, when I met with Gordon and Ed and Harry and Bob a few weeks ago, and I came up and presented them kind of a marketing plan for the first 6 months. And we've got a lot to do, and a lot of this stuff will be behind the scenes, but please, any of you, you can call me at any time. You can email me, text me, whatever you need. If you have a question, or, hey, Doug, and I need your help. I mean, if you got ideas, if you got thoughts, anything like that, I am here to help. This is what I, do, and I have a lot of contacts that we're going to be discussing, and I want to help get partners for you guys, so we can, not just do a magazine ad, but let's figure out how we can help pay for some things. And so those are the type of things. And I've talked to Bob the other day and put out a note that, I want to come back up personally in a few weeks, or whenever we work it out, and spend, a day and a half, spend the night, come up, talk to you guys, talk to, different members, go around different places there in Rayburn County, talk to them about what we're doing, and do a lot of things that, just need to continue. Because you guys, certainly, as you know, you're up there to enjoy life and have fun, and also but you take a great interest of what you're doing in your community to make sure things are run right and continued on to the next generation. And see what we can do to help Sky Valley, and we certainly appreciate that, because you don't want to sit around doing these meetings. You want to do other things. So I understand that. So I'm here to help and want to help. So we've got a lot of things cooking already, and we're going to start sending out emails to different locations throughout the country. We, as a company, and my company name is Georgia Golf and Travel, and then it's the home of the Georgia Golf Trail, but we do many more things besides golf. And we have a real estate program, that we have a real estate thing that you guys are going to be a part of because of this. We do, again, many other things that we want to promote Georgia through golf. Okay, not the 18 holes that you have there in your community, but we need to figure out, okay, how do we get other people to spend money up in that area, whether it is buy homes or just come up and vacation and enjoy and do things with you guys for as long as they can. So that's our goal, and we have many ways to do it. I think Bob, does everybody have a copy of that, or just you and the marketing guys, in terms of that thing you just showed me, the marketing plan for the first 6 months? Do they have that?
He's muted again.
He's muted. Let's see.
Bob, don't be muting yourself,
Okay.
I'm
Now
sorry.
try.
The answer is yes. I sent out
Okay.
the 3 packets of info that we talked about
Okay.
weeks ago. They all received it, hopefully
Yeah.
reviewed it,
Okay. So
have it at their disposal.
they can have it if they need it. They can certainly ask me again, but we start June, July, August. And so we start with June, but I'm already working for stuff in September and October and how we move on. But there's quite a few things there to get us started. And it's just like anything else. The first couple of months, we've got a lot of stuff to do. And then it's going to be like hopefully a train that just moves easily along the tracks. But we hope that something comes up new in August that we can talk about and go from there. But Sky Valley will be a top priority for me in what I'm doing. I'm about 2 hours away from you guys. Love coming up there. So there's many things that I'll just get into in terms of what we want to do and how we grab people that are heading up to the Highlands and make sure that, hey, whoa, what is this, Sky Valley? You know, I was talking to a guy the other day and he said he'd been to Highlands, and I said, well, did you see the sign to Sky Valley? Yeah, kind of, you know. I said, you ever been to Sky Valley? So I started talking about Sky Valley. So there's many things that we want to do, and certainly, like, you know, and things, how do we get better internet? How do we get other programs up there that can help Sky Valley that we can promote and talk to other people about, hey, yeah, come on up. This is, you know, what we're going to be promoting crazy is the highest and coolest place in Georgia. We want these people around Atlanta to know that, so it's an easy drive for them to come up for the weekend or come up and look for homes. I've got, we work with a real estate company out of Atlanta, and they help us do our webpage, which is really GeorgiaGolfRealEstate.com that you can check out. And we would like to get, you know, travel agents up there to come up and see what you guys have available so they can be, you know, talking about it. So there's a lot of things in the works that we will just continue to do. And if, like I said, if you have any questions, just please ask me, and I'm not going to continue to ramble. We do want to bring some golf writers up, let them see. Each year we bring in different golf writers who do other things. They don't just talk about golf, but they have different programs. I have one guy that his stories gets picked up every week on Apple News. He sends his database of about 50,000 people, and then Apple News picks it up, and we all know that, you know, we could have millions of people read. And then his is in the sports section. So we have a lot of different people, not just from around the area. We work with people up in New England. We work with people in the Midwest. Our travel company is really good. We just had a group that gave me, so they can go to Georgia, our website, and they can see the different things, and they can pick out Sky Valley or Sea Island or Reynolds or Callaway or whatever. So just like the other day, somebody sent me, I don't remember where it was from, but they sent me a inquiry about information. And I believe it was probably about 20 golfers, if I was, and they want to come up and spend the night, a few nights. And so I sent that to, I think I sent it to Howard based on it being golf and related. And I said, maybe Elizabeth can handle this. We can do everything in-house here, but we'd like to offer people who know a little bit more about things. And that's certainly one of our top priorities is accommodations. And we've got to make sure we get all that out so everybody understands that. But so that, I mean, that alone, if we got that group and they came up and played golf and spent the night and whatever, then shoot, my services are paid for the year. I mean, and that's just for one group. So there's many things that we're going to be able to do to raise money to do a lot of different things, and you can, you know, use the money however you want to do. And so that's, again, I'm not going to ramble, but and I'm going to sit here for a little while. We're good on time because I want to hear what other things are going on. And Bob and I have talked a couple of times, but please, you know, seriously, I thank you. And like I said, I haven't met all of you, and, you know, we're going to help the city do some things through government and help, you know, people understand more about Sky Valley. And, you know, we want to promote real estate in many ways. We got a lot of ideas with that. And so I'm very excited. I truly believe in your community. And I think it's wonderful. We just got to get people to understand it. And not just people, but we want to get corporations to say, okay, this is cool. We'd like to be a part of this, and we can help you do this and this and this. And so we work with a lot of corporations that I'm going to approach and say, hey, this is what we're doing, and I'm a part of it. And they're not just, this is not just a golf trail. Forget the golf trail. We're in the marketing mode, and we want to, you know, promote Sky Valley and go from there. So if you have any questions, please.
Doug, I have a question. What was the name of your real estate entity?
Yes, ma'am. It's just, oh, excuse me, Your Honor. Holly, I told you now you wanted to run for this position, so now you got that title. So
Well,
hey,
well,
it's
well,
Georgia.
Doug, there's a story to that I'll tell you later in private.
Okay, so Ed said for you to run, he's going to run it through you. I get it. Okay, way to go, Ed.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Hey, Holly,
So your what was the real estate company?
it's GeorgiaGolfRealEstate.com. So that we have newsletter where we send out to tens of thousands of people every month, and we do different things. And we would like to do a lot more. We'll have a section now with Sky Valley in there, and hopefully that we can get more information from all these real estate agents out there about places that are for sale, lots and homes and everything like that. We want to promote that. And again, we have a whole different ways that we're going to do the real estate situation. So again, this is not, we got the golf thing going. We're good. We got a lot of stuff going. This is about what I'm doing for you guys. Includes golf, but it includes everything else. So you guys have all this package, and that package is what we're going to, promote. So.
Well, we would certainly welcome all the agents from this company to come up and visit, and we will be glad to show them around and talk to them. That would be great.
Yeah, I think so too. It's something I'm talking to them about in terms of grabbing their agents, and it's just basically come up, if they can just drive it, and we would just get the people from North Georgia and say, hey, here you go. We're going to have this, and we're going to come up and take a tour and have lunch, and and then it's over. And if anybody'd like to play golf, you can play golf and then just go back home. So real, something sweet, easy, let everybody meet you guys, see the area so they can go back and promote it to all their, people that they work for and say, hey, you looking for a mountain place? Hey, the Sky Valley. And I have never been to Sky Valley. This is great. So that's, the more people we can find out, about Sky Valley, the more they're going to tell. So that's just one of the things that we want to do.
One last request, Doug, AKA Mike.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock, we're having a regular council meeting, which I'm hoping we will have more participation. Would there be any chance of you just giving a brief introduction and to that meeting? It's on Zoom.
Yeah, no, Bob has clicked me in on that for the 23rd o'clock.
Oh, great.
So
Great.
I'm available anytime. And certainly I'm going to go through Bob mostly on all this stuff, but certainly, like I said, y'all please, Ella, certainly I know Ella. But anybody, so we don't have to go, through Bob. Just Bob would like to make sure he understands what's going on. So
yes, I had talked to him about it. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So yeah, no, he told me so. All I need is another link to come back in, and we'll talk about whatever you'd like to talk about.
Great. I just wanted the rest of the guys to know that we had asked you also.
Thank you, ma'am. I look forward to it.
Me too.
And Doug and I have had conversations and emails out the yin yang, so we're almost constant communication.
Yeah.
And the first thing, which is great, is that although golf is Doug's wheelhouse, he's able to do the other things that we need, because we are a conglomeration, if you will, a consortium, if you will, of golf and POA and the city and so on. And he's able to handle that. As a matter of fact, we talked that first email blast that he's planned for this month is apparently always going to be Georgia and Florida. That's kind of like a given. And then he will choose other areas of the country that we talked about for now for 2020, because our season has been shortened. Let's concentrate on the local Southeast, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, people that could hop in the car if they choose to. And then we can look into, the Northeast and all of that stuff after travel restrictions and so on are lightened up. Now, Doug liked our ad so much. You've seen this. I think I sent this out to you. That this is the ad that was crafted to go into the Mountain Traveler magazine. And Doug was impressed with it, said, why don't we use that as our first email blast? So it's already done, ready to go. Has Doug's stamp of approval, which is as good as the good housekeeping stamp of approval. And
Can I have
it'll
that
be
in
going.
writing, please?
It'll be going. So so far we're getting the snowball rolling down the hill a little bit. We want to keep pushing it, making it go on down the hill. And Doug will attend any of our meetings that he can. Hopefully we'll have some in person sometime soon. Although I'm kind of liking the Zoom thing because then you can everybody can attend pretty much. Travel is no problem with it. So far it's working fairly well. Any other questions or comments for Doug, and then we'll move on?
Yes, Doug, you hear me?
No, sorry, Gordon, I don't hear you. Sorry.
Oh, great. I know how this works.
Sorry, Gordon. Who, what?
Yeah. I'm working on a project called Webcam, and I wanted to get your thoughts of what would be the best. What we're trying to do is, of course, highest and coolest city and promote the city through the webcam. What avenue would be the best? I've looked at resort.com. Some people have their own site. And when people are looking at highest and coolest city, I'd like to get your suggestion. What would be the best avenue if they clicked and says they want the highest and coolest city or they want the mountains without going through something like resort webcam, which has got every resort listed, in the mountains. I'm trying to find something that we unique, different, and would be set aside Sky Valley.
Well, it's great, and trust me, I think you and I kind of mentioned that when I was there, but
Yes.
One, I think it's a great thing because I'm a big fan of webcams. I have different places in the United States that I just love, and I can't go all the time, so I go to their website and I click on, and I watch people walking up down the roads, like in Colonial Williamsburg or out in Yellowstone National Park, things like that. That's just fascinating to me, but then it gets there. So what we can do, Gordon, is once we get that and figure out where you want to put something, and we have a link to that, well, let's put that link everywhere, and we will make sure we want to put that on the website. Okay, so people can just click here for webcam, and they can see that wherever you're going to shoot it from, and if it's part of the clubhouse or the the churches or whatever, whatever beautiful shots you have up there, because everything up there is beautiful. So, and then we can do stuff that's not going to cost a dime. Okay. So we can reach out and do stuff. We'll put it on the real estate section. We'll put it on my newsletter that goes out to 250,000 people every month. And people like Mike, he can, do stuff. I have other writers, and he can, put it on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and all these type things that people. And so we're going to continue with this highest and coolest. I'm rolling my head, as we highest and coolest in Georgia, and so we want to throw that out. And if you understood what Bob said, I'm like, okay, with this email stuff, which we do this, we want people certainly in Georgia to know, because I guarantee you that most people in Georgia don't even know about Sky Valley. We want to hit the people in Florida because they're down there. It went down there too hot. Got to come back somewhere. Okay, how about North Georgia? And so that's something we're going to certainly promote. So there's many ways once we get this up, Gordon, that we can promote it that through all my contacts, and that's why, I'm doing everything, not just, one or two things. And we can promote that website, and we just need the link, and, and we'll hit it hard and heavy. So.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, any other questions, comments for Doug? Okay, let's move on. We have talked about the contributions to the marketing account. Ella, you can be the tattletale. Has the club donated their $24.40?
I believe they have. I'll have to double check that one, but I know the POA and the city has. Well, I put that in the bank myself last week, so that has been contributing.
I love it when a plan comes together. And the POA has already deposited 10, and they're waiting for a money market account to roll over. So we're going to get the other 5 pretty quickly. And
Very, very soon.
we really appreciate that. That's the lion's share of the money we've got available. And if, as we're rolling, as we're doing more things, I'm hoping that the club in the city can relook at their contributions and say, okay, this is legit, we got it rolling, we got it going. How much can we afford, not how little can we afford to donate. And if we get to the point where we need more money, we're going to be loud and long about that. So thank you for those that have done that. Timeshare status. I'm going to give a little synopsis and then ask Holly and Gordon. As you know, at the last meeting, we found out for probably the third time that timeshare did not want to be part of our committee. And we talked about Holly and Gordon contacted them both as her position as mayor and Gordon as board member of the club that participates with them to the tune of about 40 grand. So figuring they have a little more clout than me. Well, fortunately, we had a meeting that got set up. I think it was Holly who set it up for last Friday, a very quick meeting. And about a half an hour before that meeting last Friday, we were all notified that they decided again they don't want to be part of it, so why should we attend the meeting? So my thought process on this is, if they don't want to be part of the marketing committee, I don't really have a problem with that. But for us to be able to market Sky Valley, they're going to get marketed whether they like it or not, because it's an important entity to us. So I kind of put a little extra pressure on Holly and Gordon to say, hey, they don't want to join the marketing committee, that's great, but now we need to actually know what's what with this organization. Are they legit? Are they going to be hanging around? Or are they going to spruce the place up? Because I came up with a word that best describes the area for me, is it's shabby. And we don't need to be shabby in any way, shape, or form. And maybe some of the influence of the mayor and the club, who's a major contributor. So Gordon, I think it was emailed me last night or texted me last night. Gordon, tell me the latest on your contact with them, please.
Well, I spoke to Jerry, was able to talk to him, and he was willing to meet with us and talk a little bit about the future of timeshare and with the update. And of course, he lives in Tallahassee, so he's going back and forth. And he expects to come to Sky Valley to meet with a company that he's trying to attempt to sell some of his timeshare weeks. And he thought it might be next week, but he didn't have a definite date. And all I could say is, okay, when you come up, we'd like to meet. And he said he would. I just got to find out the date. He wouldn't give me a date because I hadn't nailed it down, but he thought it was going to be within a week that he meets with these people.
Well, I appreciate that, and it's positive that he said he would be willing to.
Yes.
But at this point, whether he wants to or not, we got to force the issue that we need to have information about what this thing is, because even Doug and I have spoken. He would like to have fam trips. He would like to set up some golf tournaments or people to come and stay. And we need to know if that's a facility that can be used in whatever way. And if not, obviously we want to use something that's in Sky Valley, but if it's not available, then we've got to take steps to go outwards. And we can't let him just say, oh, I don't want to meet you, I don't want to meet you, I don't want to meet you. We may have to, park upside his car and not let him out the door until he puts the window down. And I know that's my way out there, way of solving it, but it's a problem that has to be solved, and communication can solve most issues. Now, one other thing, Gordon, I'm going to throw on you. Doug has said that he's come up here in the past to have meetings and would like to continue to do so. And apparently, because of the money you put in, you've got some clout as to getting him a place to stay. So would you still be able to get him a room, so to speak, when he wants to come up and have his meetings with us?
We try, yes.
Okay. If
Does you have an extra bedroom, Gordon?
I know.
Hey.
I know our ex-president. We can work that out. That can be worked out.
Well,
Okay.
I have a travel trailer that's down in a storage unit on 441 that we could use.
No, we'll work that out. Yes.
If you could, and get some update on that one, that would be
And
good
just
for,
let me say something real quick, Bob, is the reason I want to do this is, yeah, these meetings are great and we have these meetings all the time. I need to get up there and work. Like I said, I want to meet with the city of, you know, up there. I want to meet with Rayburn County, you know, tourism people. I want to go up to Highlands and talk to those people. I want to talk to, you know, Steve and Elizabeth and you know, talk to these people that, you know, but I need to do it at all. And I want to be up there. So I want you guys to see me, feel me, know that, hey, Doug, you know, Doug was just here last week. We did this and hey, we did this. And so that's it. It's not like I'm intruding. I'm just want to come up. And I think because of the time for me, I can do certain days, you know, and I don't care what time I get back home. But if I can, you know, sit down and relax and then go, you know, up again the next morning and hit it hard, I think those are the type things, and that, because it's just going to take time to get with a lot of these people and tell them what we're trying to do and partner up with these people, and we need a lot of help. So I certainly appreciate anything you can do.
that's a good idea.
Out of the question there, Robert, but
I think that's a great idea. Per the 1970-ish song from The Who, we do want to see you, but per COVID, I don't want to feel you, and I definitely don't want to touch you.
okay.
See me,
All right,
feel me,
you-
touch
you-
me.
Yeah, feel me, touch me, whatever.
Okay, anything else on the timeshare thought process? Just let us know, Gordon. Pretty much Holly and I seem to be pretty much almost ready at a moment's notice,
Okay.
so, you know.
Great, thanks.
Okay, all right, moving on to the POA. We had talked about having real estate postings on the POA website. And I know that Jamie has done some, and I'm assuming it was not just only Jamie, but the emails came from her. So Ed, if you want to bring us up to date on where we're at with that, I know you've made great progress.
Certainly, we're in the process of making sure that we get everything listed on our website. Debbie Dahlhaus, Curtis, and Jamie have been working closely together to get everything listed the way they want them listed. They've contacted Scott Cost to get us access to the MLS listings of all the properties for sale up here in the Sky Valley area. So that's in process and should be up and online very, very soon.
Okay.
Excuse me, Debbie reports that all listings are posted now via the MLS on the POA website.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank her for that great work. Now, flipping over to Ella. I tried to attend the meetings yesterday, but there were parts that got blipped out. When is the date that the city website will be active?
It should be up this week. It should
Okay.
be up by Friday.
Okay, because we're at the point now where the city website is going to be critical. Who's ever got background sound
Yeah,
going
they
on,
need to
dogs
mute
or movement,
themselves.
will you mute yourself, please? Anyway, we're getting to the point where the city website is going to be critical to what we're doing, because the email blasts and the things that Doug is doing at this point in time is driving people to our city website, because that's the only one we really have right now. And I know we had talked about getting links to the POA, and we haven't talked about it yet, but we probably need to come up with a travel site that people can go to that could possibly be a link on the header. I think we need to drive them to one place, skyvalleygeorgia.com, and then have them have tabs available to go where they want to know about government or meetings or permits or the POA and real estate, or, you know, tourism and travel. So that being active is going to be critical for people to contact us. Now, answering Jim, at the last meeting, we asked Jim, or Jim brought it up about, well, all these emails that's going out, how do we answer questions? Well, I posed that question to Doug, and he said, pretty much they don't get responses from the email blasts and things they send, because they try to drive people to the website. So we don't, at this point, anticipate, not that we never will, but right now we don't anticipate having to have one person or any people to sit down and respond to questions from the emails. Now, if that changes based on responses we get, then we can address it at that time, but we're not in the position to hire anybody or pay anybody to do that as of yet. but thank you for the hard work you did in identifying some people who are willing to do that. Okay, so that's POA and that's website. Okay, we did talk a little bit already about the webcam. Gordon brought up the idea, so I christened him Vice President of Webcam Development, and he's done some he's done some good work. As a matter of fact, I think last night you sent. Did you send that just to me, or did you send that to everybody?
Hopefully it was sent to everyone. I sent it to everyone.
It
All right,
was,
great.
I got it.
All right, great. Well, Gordon has done some legwork, has gotten with Ken Walton, I think it was. And I don't know if that was anytime in the recent past, but if you would please continue the investigation. When you said, well, maybe the city can look into it. That's us.
Yes,
And in
yes.
this case, you're the vice president of it. So in this committee, we don't have the ability to go, well, you do it and somebody else will do it. And maybe everybody will do it, which means nobody's doing it. So if you could keep drilling down and get some answers, and if you need to pull in Doug for advice, please do that. And we're basically asking you to identify, here's the company we should go with, here's how much it's going to be. And then we decide, well, where do we want to put the camera? I was down near the club the other day, and it was just gorgeous. So like Doug said, almost anywhere. The chapel, the scenic overlook, the 18th green or fairway or whatever, almost anything we put on there. And maybe we could have more than one. I don't know, depending on how much it costs. So Gordon, if you would continue with that, thank you for the homework. That's awesome. I love the fact that you guys are willing to do what you said you would do. Okay, let's go on to car stickers. Yay. All right. Thank you to Ella, who did a great job by contacting a local firm, and they came up with proofs, and I sent those out to everybody. I was thoroughly impressed. I contacted, I think the person's name is Lee, and they can make them quick, fast, and in a hurry. And Doug also did some legwork, but we found out that the local company can respond and is also slightly cheaper. And as far as I'm concerned, good work at a cheap price is kind of like my middle name. So, did everybody like the oval car sticker with the mountains and the SV and the Sky Valley, Georgia at the bottom? Just raise your hand if you liked it. Nobody. Oh, good. Okay. And Ella, I'm going to prod them to. I was a teacher. I'll get you to raise your hands.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with that, right? They may not
I have
answer
a
correctly, but maybe
question.
if they can raise their hand. What's that?
I have
Yes.
a question.
Ed,
I would like to lobby for those individuals who don't want stickers on their cars, but they may attach a magnet, and let the people choose to pay the extra cost for a magnetized version.
not a bad idea. Okay, because that's the thing. Part of this. Oh, Jim, you got your hand up. What's up?
Well, I just wanted to say I like the longer version as well.
Okay, well, that was my next question. I also, and I don't like bumper stickers on my car. And June was like, we don't put bumper stickers on our car. I said, yeah, I may have to break that rule in our household for a while. But I'm also in love with the longer version. I'm thinking we could have two available. The oval one is approximately $1, probably slightly less, but let's say for ballpark figure $1. If we order more than 200, it'll be slightly cheaper. The I think it's an 11x3 longer bumper sticker that shows, highest, coolest city is, if I remember correctly, 76 cents. So it's actually cheaper than the other one. And I like both of them. So being I'm on the board of the POA, we came up because I want their opinion on the things we do, because they are us, as Ed, and I don't see Jamie here today, but she's been very great at doing things. That the possibility is we could provide them to residents, and the providing could be through a vehicle that I think it's Bill and some other people have been working on a survey that's going to go out sometime in early July. And I also copied that to everybody, asking them questions and what have you. So a little bit of a rabbit hole here. Make sure you read it. If there's any questions that we could conceivably add to the survey that's already going out, and in marketing, surveys and questionnaires are the primary way companies get feedback. As long as it's already being done, we could, Holly said we could piggyback on it. Now, we're not going to be able to add 25 questions, Jim. We're going to have to be able to answer like maybe a couple and ask them, would they, use it, would they want it? How do we distribute it? Well, we could probably distribute it through bills, the water bills. There was discussion at the POA reinstituting welcome wagon baskets, so to speak, and we could include them in the welcome baskets that they receive. My wife suggested that we offer each household 2, because most of the time the households have 2 people, 2 vehicles, and so on and so forth. And the stickers are kind of a motorized form of word of mouth advertising. You don't actually even have to open your mouth, but we possibly could see those. So I guess I'm looking to, one question I have about the oval sticker, where at the bottom where it says Sky Valley, Georgia, it's written out, the word Georgia is written out. First question is, should we shorten that to GA, just so that maybe the font could be a little bigger and a little more impactful? So maybe a raise of hands. Does anybody think we should change it to Sky Valley GA, or just leave it? Okay, who says GA?
GA.
GA.
All right, so GA. So we'll go ahead and do that. Now, another possibility is, should we put the website on there? skyvalleyga.com. Now, I'm going to give you my opinion. Is that I think in these days and times, people are smart enough to say, oh, Sky Valley GA, I can type that in, and boom, more than just our website will come up. But I don't want to overturn that. So do people that think instead of Sky Valley GA, should we put the city's website on there? People will know exactly where to go.
No.
Nobody. Okay, I'm good with that. Just want to offer alternatives, and this is a very succinct way of us doing that. Okay. I will.
Bob?
Yes.
Bob, could Ella maybe investigate an oval magnetized version of the
Yes.
sticker?
Could you
That would be
contact?
great.
And also, yeah, I will. Bob, let me interject in this. I don't know. I never made contact with Happy Jack. The people I was dealing with was Adolph Sign, which is also the local company. Adolph did not respond to me. So I think in all fairness, I need to go back to both and let them both give us prices on it.
Well, I'm all for fairness, but here's what I think. If I call a contractor and he won't show up, he's out.
Well, and that's what I'm
necessarily
saying. I never made contact with Happy Jack. The oval that I sent you was from Adolph. It was not from Happy Jack.
Well, then.
They took Happy Jack's product. I mean, the Happy Jack took Adolph's product and utilized what they had.
Well, the emails that I got had Happy Jack on it, so that's the only person I ever knew was involved in this process.
I sent it to both. I actually sent a request for both, and Adolph is the only one that I got the estimates from.
So then how did I get copies?
You got Happy Jacks because when I initially sent it out, I sent it out to both. I sent out the request to both.
All right, stop a second. The only correspondence I ever got, including the proofs, and the only person I knew to contact was Happy Jack. So how did it get screwed up that we got images from one and
I don't know.
another?
I'll go back and trace your
right.
the emails that I sent you, and I'll get with you later on that.
All right. So if you would then contact Adolph, that's great. Contact both of them and say we want to change it to Sky Valley GA and pricing, firm pricing. And then we'll decide based on that how many we're going to order. and how we're going to distribute them to our populace. And the more we can get up on cars and what have you, the better. Okay.
Wonder what the time frame is on production for this.
Well, the guy, Lee, who I'm assuming is from Happy Jack, said
Yes.
if they make them in-house, they can make them pretty quick. If they get, higher quantities, they can farm that out to have them done. So I'm expecting it wouldn't be more than a few weeks, maybe a couple of weeks. But Ella, could you find out
I will.
how quickly we
I'll
could get
follow
them
up.
as
I'll
well?
follow up with both, okay?
Because it'd be kind of cool to get them as many vehicles as possible this summer and carry them through the winter and so on and so forth. Is anybody in disagreement with that?
No.
Awesome. Okay. Next thing. Brochures. Now, somewhere or other, I came across Sky Valley brochure that looks, I know it's probably coming in backwards, but it's a trifold brochure. One of these was in that big binder you gave me, Ella, but I
Okay,
had
that's an
one.
old one, yeah.
I had found this one somewhere else. And it says good things, and it's dated a little bit, but I had asked Ella if we had a JPEG of this so we could, if we wanted to quickly reproduce them, we could, but she says we have no record of a JPEG.
No.
And we have none in inventory, correct?
That is correct, unless
Okay.
there is some at the timeshare office, because we took, when we closed our visitor center, we took what we had to them. But I think a lot of that stuff was done away with because what they set up was just, my understanding was just on the rack that we had.
Okay, because I thought that if we had an inventory of these, 500 to 1,000 or whatever, we could use these in the short term, get rid of the inventory while we created another one. I don't want to have 1 million people contacting the timeshare. So who's our timeshare contact? Holly and Gordon? Would either one of you be willing to call them and ask that question? Do they have any brochures or tourism literature in their possession for Sky Valley? And if not,
I'll do it.
okay.
I would just go by there because I think she would be willing to allow you to look and see what they still have in the room.
Got it. I am physically challenged by their stairways, so I go there as little as humanly possible. But if somebody can, okay, Holly, if you could, that'd be great. And then if we have to develop something, we can. I'll keep copies of this. Now, the other question I have is, I came across a copy of apparently a brochure that the club has used. So club people, take a look at that. Do you still use this? Do you have any inventory of this that could be used in the short term?
There's some in the pro shop, and I delivered some of them to Forward Rabin Welcome Center
Okay,
with that golf bag, and
Okay.
Rick Story was very receptive, and they're going to promote the club and the resort down there.
okay. So if there is a need for any particular thing, you do have some supply of
I
those
don't know.
brochures.
I
Did
do
you
not.
find out?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so that's it at this point for brochures. Okay, on the heels of Howard's comments, Chamber of Commerce, Forward, Rabin, and so on and so forth. I've had a few contacts with Rick Story. He spoke at one of the meetings yesterday. He's very receptive to helping us promote Sky Valley to the point where I was insisting on coming to see him, but they're just now unpacking the last few boxes basically and setting up. So probably next week, as I'm going to go down and meet with him, because there's a consortium, again, if you will, that used to be different entities. Chamber of Commerce was here, Forward Rabin has developed. There's even an Explore Rabin. There's a Rabin Tourism Development Association. And it's like an octopus with many tentacles, but they're not all connected at the head. Now, at this point, I know that Chamber of Commerce and Explore Rabun have basically become one. And Rick is the Director of Development. And I'm going to meet with him, have spoken with him. And in our conversation, he said they're going to have a lot of touch screens and people want to play golf, they can go. So he had mentioned to me in our conversation that he couldn't remember who he spoke to, but he had asked if, the club could donate a Sky Valley golf bag. And I said, well, who'd you speak to? Well, I don't know. And then, of course, I got with Gordon and Harry, copied Howard. Harry called me back in about 15 minutes and said, oh, I can handle that. So by yesterday or before, Harry got a Sky Valley bag, put some clubs in it, put a towel on it, got some brochures in it, and delivered it to the new visitor center, which is going to be great because people are going to see it. It's a visual that's right there. And he was just ecstatic that we would do it and that we responded so quickly. So Harry, thank you so much for jumping on that thing and taking care of that. And then I plan to visit with him because the Chamber of Commerce we don't belong to or haven't in a while. There used to be various levels of membership from like about $150 up to like $700-800. And I said to Rick, I want to sit down face to face because surfing these websites, you can't get any connection of who's what and where and whatever. And even the Explore, the Forward Rabun website has Huel Goodgame as the mayor. So we know that they haven't kept that up at all. So as soon as he says I'm ready to see people, I'm going to go down and visit there and find out how they're all connected. Does it cost us anything? And how do we work together?
Hey, Bob.
Now,
Hey, Bob.
questions? Yes.
Bob, it's important to remember that we contribute some of our hotel motel tax to that organization.
Well, it's interesting you should say that, Bill, because I only became aware that there was even any such thing when I was talking to him. Because, well, thanks, the hotel motel tax. I said, what are you talking about? Oh, well, there's money that's supposed to be put aside and we get a portion of it from you that we use to market you. Now, I kind of needle Holly a little bit and I'm saying, A, I just heard of this from an outsider, and B, why wouldn't the marketing committee chairman be told of these things? So I'm slapping somebody on the hands. I don't know who it is, but I'm slapping you on the hand. Because, as Bill said, we've already sent a check for about $7,700
That's correct.
to them that they will use to market and promote us. And his example was, let's say you have fireworks. I said, yeah, we have those. We can't pay to run the fireworks, but we can pay to promote them. Now, I don't think we need to promote fireworks, but this is like I'm sitting on here having a conference with a guy who knows more about our business than I do. Fortunately, there's money there that I will discuss with him and how we spend. Now, the flip side to that same coin is we sent them about $7,700, which means we have about $11,000 of that money still available.
Bob,
Yes.
I asked Ella to explain that to the committee this morning.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, the way that, let me give you our heads up how that works. The way that works, we collect our funds for the entire year. And after at the first of the next year, usually by January 31st, we're required to submit a report to DCA. And when we submit that, they get 40% of what we've taken in and we keep 60. Well, that money is used in our economic development fund, which is where we get some of our marketing funds. So that money is already allocated in our budget for this year. Because what I do is I go back and look at what we've spent and what we plan to spend. Like when I did the budget for this year, I looked at what we spent and what we were estimated to get, because these numbers can fluctuate. Like this year with everything being down, like it is with COVID-19. I'm sure it's going to be considerably less this year. And it does vary from year to year. Some years it's a lot better than others, but this year I'm anticipating it to be down. So that money is already allocated. So no, you do not have access to that money. That was already allocated. That's part of the $4,000 that we donated. Plus, we've already spent $5,500 on fireworks for July 3rd.
Okay, so my question, based on what Rick told me, is it legal to use the money on the fireworks? Because he said you can't pay for the fireworks, but you can promote the fireworks.
We did that as a part of a city fund, not necessarily out of those marketing funds. Because I think I put in there like $17,000, $18,000 for the year. And then the way that works is like when you ask for how much the city could contribute, because we've already got some bills we paid. We've already paid fireworks. We're still paying for the actual, oh heck, my mind just went blank, for the sign down at 441. We're still paying for that out of city funds and not through the marketing for this year. For bookkeeping purposes, I need to keep it all in one and not transfer it. So we still are paying for that. So we have other expenses, plus our website was part of this as well.
Okay, so I'm just a little confused. I'm a little slow probably. But what you're saying is next year, or for 2020, the funds are probably going to be considerably less. I understand that, but we don't even have that money yet.
No, that does not disperse until
All right, so
January.
going back to what we do have available, we've paid Forward Raven about $7,700
That was
they
from
can-
19, right?
and they can choose to help us promote. The
Right.
remaining approximately 11,000,
Mhm.
you're saying is not marketing money?
It's already been set aside for economic development that we've already spent. Because see, that's why we come into this marketing committee after my budget was already done. So that's why I only had the 4,000 remaining that we could contribute.
Okay, and the balance of that, is there any balance that we can continue to use?
No, because
Okay.
we've already, because of the website, that's the main thing that we had to pay for out of it this year, was the remainder of the website.
Okay, well, in the future, Ella, if you can, or whoever, please keep me abreast of such things, because I don't like, if I'm gonna run a marketing committee, I don't want to be flat-footed in front of anybody or anything, and we have to be absolutely transparent. I'm not a council person, but I was
Yeah,
quote unquote.
and this has been, I know I've talked about the hotel motel report in several different meetings. You know, you may have just missed one of them, but I know I've mentioned it in a couple of different council meetings and such,
All
because
right,
we
well,
have to
again,
do that report each year.
When somebody says hotel motel tax, being a newbie up here, even if I heard it, I would not know that any portion of it was able to be used for marketing. So
It can only be used for marketing, Bob.
Right.
It can only be.
And to clarify, remember our conversation in this committee a couple meetings ago, where you asked for what the city could contribute.
Right.
Ella outlined the $11,000 and what was spent already, and the remaining that could be contributed was the $4,000.
Okay.
So that
I
was
appreciate
discussed
that.
then. You know, what probably wasn't aware is how much of that actually went to Forward Raven,
Okay.
which is required by the state.
All right. I just want to be aware of what's out there, what's possible, what we have, what can we spend. I was just flat-footed when he told me we got $7,700 for marketing that I didn't even know existed in any way, shape, or form. All right, moving on. Mountain Traveler magazine. We're going to run that ad I showed you earlier. And it is going to come out at the end of June, somewhere after June 22nd. It's going to be the Mountain Traveler magazine. It is also going to be in the Lake Living magazine, which comes out in August 17th. It is also going to be in the Lake Living magazine in November. November 16th. So we're getting 3 hits from the same ad that we paid $595 for. I also mentioned, and I think I sent it out to everybody, that there's going to be an article in the Mountain Traveler magazine, not in the other 2 subsequent other magazines, about the history of Sky Valley. So in that edition, we're going to have a half-a-page ad as well as an article. And the young lady who's writing the article got a hold of Holly and said, hey, we'd like to have a sound bite. And we had an hour to get it back to her. So I kind of took care of that. I sent you a copy of the ad. I sent you a copy of the sound bite that is supposedly going to be in the article. And just want to keep you abreast of what's going on and what's going to be out there very, very soon at this point. And we'll see if that works well in any way, shape, or form. We may continue to do those additions. Ella, at the last meeting, you had mentioned that we are in the regional map and the Mountain Lake Publishing. I'm not.
Yes,
Go ahead.
yeah, he just contacted me this week, and he literally just dropped this by yesterday. I don't know if y'all
Oh.
can see this or not. This
Okay.
is the ad that we had in there, and he's wanting to know if we want to continue with it. Now, this one is, this is a map. I can't open it all up, but this has a map in it that we had just done a small ad
Right,
previously in it.
right.
And have done this for years and years. And this one is the Visitor Center, the Visitor map to Blue Ridge Mountain, North Georgia. It's not cooperating with me here. But just to show you what the map looks like up front, this is the front of it. This is what it looks like up front, that it
Right.
shows up. So,
Okay.
and he gave me some pricing, wanting to know if we wanted to continue this. Our ad that we currently have is $600, but he offers other things because I figure we'll probably want to change from what we've got to something newer.
Right.
He said we can double the ad for $1,100, triple the ad at $1,600. And 4-panel ad is $2,100. He says, or if we want to just do like the back cover, which would be the whole thing, would be
Right.
$2,600. So if this is something, y'all want to continue doing, we can do that. If we want to, but just keep in mind, it is all in one color. There is no color variation. So
now
we just need to determine.
That map you have in your hand, is
Mhm.
that's the one that's out there now?
Yes, sir. This is the one
Okay.
that is out there now because I asked him to bring me a sample of our last ad. And that's what he dropped off late yesterday.
Now, this new one that may come out that we may want to change in, is there a deadline for that?
He actually did not give me a deadline. He said this normally goes out in July. But he did say that they do an excess of 220,000 units. And just to give you an idea where these go out at, it says it's at all state of Georgia welcome centers. And let's see, it's at welcome centers in Savannah, Macon, Augusta, Columbus, Rome, Albany, Dalton, Valdosta, etc. All state parks, the Chamber of Commerce in 19 counties that are covered in the map, the City of Atlanta, tourism. Somebody's got background noise.
Yeah.
Can y'all hear that? I don't know who it
There's
is.
some kind of interference. Can you guys watch or listen or whatever? Or if you're not part of the
Let me-
committee, to mute, please?
Yeah, because I'm getting a lot. Okay, all right. But just to give you an idea, and it's, he said this is also the Welcome Center at the state capitol. It's at convention and visitor bureaus. And it's
Yeah.
all over. It's around Gwinnett, at the town center, the Mall of Georgia, North Georgia Outlet Malls, North Georgia Mountain Center in Gainesville. And it's also at the Visitor Center in Southwest North Carolina around US 64, including those in Highlands, Franklin's, Hayesville, Murphy, and other areas that may be near the Tennessee River.
Okay. Well, it seems to me like it's a good idea that we be on somebody's map. Do you have enough that you could mail me one so I could see it?
This is the only one I have. I'll be glad to see if I can round up. And this may be something that Shelley has down there too, because I'm thinking
Okay.
we
All right.
get these by the box for, and I'm thinking we took some to her.
All right,
Can
in
you-
the meantime, can you
Ella,
check?
can you scan it?
I can scan this cover and send it to you, Holly, so when you go to look, you can do that, look for it and see if there's extras there.
Oh,
Could you
certainly.
also scan a copy that shows the ad we have?
Yes, I will scan both of them. I'll
And send
scan the
that
front and
to
the
me.
ad. Okay, and
then
I'll
if-
send it to all of you.
If you could ask him what, if any, deadline is it for the next
Yeah,
edition?
Yeah, because his letter did not state that. He just called and I had asked him to bring me the copy of it. So,
Because should we decide to be in it, we'll craft a new ad that, the highest school city, take advantage of our logo, our new look kind of a thing.
and I'll reach out to him and ask him to give me a definite deadline too, because he left me his phone number to call him back.
Perfect, thank you. You also mentioned Mountain Lake Publishing. What
That
do
one
they-
is, yeah, that one is already done. She had already included us in that, and I believe she did not actually charge us for that one this year. She just went ahead and put in what we had last year.
And what does it come out in? What?
It's already
publication?
out. She does it. We got so many. But she had included it in the same one from last year. I think that's one of the ones I had sent you an email on. I'll double check that and send you those emails.
And if she could get us some copies of whatever the publication is.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Rob,
Yes,
Ella, did I hear correctly that they distribute 220,000 of those maps a year?
Yes.
Sounds
Yes.
like,
It's a
Sounds
very,
like-
yes, it's one of the maps. I know that, I know even when our visitor center was open, this was one of the maps that everybody wanted because it includes, city maps of Helen and Toccoa, area maps of Blairsville, Blue Ridge, Clayton, Clarksville, Dahlonega, Hiawassee, Tallulah Falls, and Sky Valley. So it includes everything in there.
and we may want to consider when we decide, yes, we want to go forward, do we want to increase the size of the ad? Because when you're sending out 220,000 of anything, that's
Right.
pretty significant coverage. And it's a
Definitely.
map. The map is a great thing, in my opinion, because it's something that people may have at their disposal or even in their car when they're driving around or looking for places, whereas a magazine tends to be, looked at once and stuck in a magazine rack or tossed. So that's a good question, Jim. Let's consider that when we see the deadlines and
Ella,
the size of the ads.
Ella, one question. How often is that distributed? Once a year or?
He did say, let me pull my letter back out. He did say, I want to think he said it is distributed, July. Okay, he just said, I think what you do is if you run out, you just call is what we used to do. Is when if we were getting low, we'd just call this guy and he'd bring us some more. So I think what happens is that he follows up with people to see if they need any, like he's from Hiawassee, so he just delivered this to me late yesterday. But I think that's what he normally does. He'll go and just deliver them locally if you need additional ones.
okay.
Questions, comments?
Just,
Okay, next point is
Here-
Sky Valley
Harry's-
visit.
Hold on, Harry's saying something. Let me.
Oh, I'm
unmute
sorry.
him.
So he would, when he goes around,
Harry, you are muted. You got to unmute yourself.
I'm sorry, was Harry trying to talk?
Harry's trying to go first, Jim. We'll let you go next.
I was just saying, if it's a July publication, the deadline has to be real soon.
It is. It's got to be. That's what I'm thinking too. Yeah.
Okay, Jim, did you have something?
Um, Two things. One, if Raven County also has a map, I would think that would be an equally good place to make sure that we've got an ad, because people will be having it in their hands and actually using it. When the fella that does the 220,000 goes around to redistribute, does he keep track of those numbers?
I have no idea.
Okay.
My idea, Jim, is they hire cheap people to go around and stuff brochures in a slot. I doubt that they're counting how many were there, how many were used, how many were responded to. It's not a highly scientific activity. It's like, here's a place, here's a stack.
Okay.
Next.
But there's a lot
It's
of,
like delivering a newspaper. Here you go, goodbye.
okay, thank you.
Other questions? All right, good. Onward to the Sky Valley Visitor Center. Now, I know that was on the agenda for one of the meetings yesterday, which is being rescheduled for Friday. So I think this is good that we have some kind of a conversation. And I guess the discussion is, we have a building. To the best of my knowledge, Bill, you can correct me, it is a self-sustaining building because there's income coming in from a tenant or two tenants. So whether it's empty or it's full, there's not a whole lot of expense, if any. And do we want, or more importantly, do we need a visitor center? Now, I'll give my opinion first. I think we need one. Now, whether it's in that building or not, I don't know. Trying to get the snowball going down the hill. We have a building that's sitting empty, that's already self-sustaining. It's in a good location. It's on a main road. My opinion is resurrect the dead, especially since the expense seems to be small. Now, Bill, you can talk about that in a minute. Somebody brought up, I think it was last meeting, I think it was Jamie, that she thought we needed one, and maybe we could do something in the junction area where the Sinclair sign is. I don't know if that's a possibility or not. We didn't look into that.
That's
But-
North Carolina. Yeah.
Oh, it is North Carolina.
Yes.
Okay. So I guess the discussion is, Bill, do you want to fill us in on anything you know or we should know about the visitor center building at this point?
I think you pretty well summed it up. I mean, with the two tenants, we're basically kind of net zero on income. Obviously the challenge is continued maintenance of the building, et cetera, and any other improvements that we will need to make per code. But generally speaking, the past it's been kind of neutral in terms of cost.
Okay.
From a month to month.
Now, I know this isn't a quorum or official, but those representatives from the city, meaning Holly, Jim, and Bill, what is your opinion? Succinctly, do you individually think we should have that visitor center? Bill?
Well, what's interesting is originally, yes, I think so. And I think it's important, and some of the feedback I've gotten from some of the citizens is, we don't want to lose control of that site or that building. It's very valuable.
Right.
From a go forward standpoint, that's the discussion we're having. What do we do there? I think it's important we have some sort of visitor center. And I think based on what I heard from Rick's story yesterday, and the subsequent meetings that you're going to have with him, I want to understand what it is he's going to do down there. How valuable is that? And how might that tie to what we want to do up here?
Right. Jim, what do you think?
Well, I think the location is ideal for a visitor center. That's where the traffic is. We know we have trouble getting people to turn right on Mud Creek Road. That's where the traffic is. It's the commercial location in the city of Sky Valley. For the last couple of years, as I've been traveling around, I've been stopping at visitor centers. And one of the things they all have in common is that they have exhibits. They have things to draw attention to locally. They have little storylines that carry through. And they also have, they try and get information about people as we have done in the past. And I think this tells us where people are coming from on the roads. It gives direction to where the social media efforts can be focused, along with, you know, information that we have about our own demographics here. So I think there's a lot of reasons to think that if it's done right, it can be helpful to the overall marketing campaign. But again, we need to develop some of those exhibits, I think.
Right. Holly, what do you think?
And be glad
I concur with Jim and Bill. I think it's important that we utilize that building, and I think a visitor center would be a wonderful portion of that building to be used. I don't think that throwing brochures on the counter at timeshares is at all advantageous. Mainly, a lot of people aren't going to stop. And the other reason is the stairways to get there is not convenient.
Yeah.
Plus, they're not really there to promote the city of Sky Valley. They have business to take care of. So
Right.
I agree with Bill and Jim.
Well, I agree with that too. And I think some of what Jim and Bill had said, we already have a building that's almost a net zero expense. It's in a great location. And even if we can't make it all it needs to be immediately, we're talking about the future of Sky Valley. Why throw out the baby with the bathwater? I think it's a great location. The cost is good. It's not what we need it to be, but things can be developed, as Jim said, so that in years to come, that is the doorstep of Sky Valley. Oh, we're here. Let's pull in here. And having exhibits and so on and so forth, I think is great. Having material there, having a person manning it, that maybe we can get back to Jim's manning it and paying people to do that part. Gathering contact information, which I know, again, it's all third party, that we used to do that. And somehow the lists of contact people and their emails magically disappeared. So obviously it walked away with the mice or something. Obviously we would need to.
Bob, all
Yes.
that information has recently been uncovered.
Oh, awesome. Amazing.
Yeah.
So we have not just names, but we have contact emails or whatever.
We do.
Wow. The
I
Lord be
found out
praised.
yesterday.
The Lord be praised.
Amen.
Now, I think for the future, we do need to freshen it up. I think we have to have better signage, because it doesn't even say visitor center, even when it was in use. It says Sky Valley Accommodations as the 5th sign down. So if we're going to keep it, we need to maximize it.
Yeah, I think Bob, I
As
think, you know, it needs to, if we're going to do this, and again, may not be immediate, but if we're going to do this, that needs to project the quality and experience that is down here in the valley.
Exactly.
Rather than just kind of a roadside building.
Exactly. Now, does anybody else have express any of your opinions about the visitor center? Because I'd like for us, if possible, to throw our support behind it, so that when it's discussed, when we're not all there, like at an upcoming meeting, Bill and Jim and Holly can say, it's been discussed by the marketing committee. They think it's an integral part of our plan, not just for now, but for the future. So So do any of you have opinions you want to express now, so that we can enter our opinion into the discussion on Friday?
I
Can
do. I think it's very valuable that we have a visitor center to project what Sky Valley really is. And I love the idea of the kiosks, the powerful information that we share with each other and the rest of the population that goes through. It is in an ideal location. We need to make the most of our resources.
Perfect. Anybody else?
Yes, can I ask just to have some idea budget-wise, when would y'all anticipate trying to do something with this building to open it back up? Staff-wise, building?
First of all, we have, as of today, we have, both our tenants are in this building until at least October. Also, we need to think about, and I know the mayoral advisory committee is talking about updating bathrooms, making them ADA capable, also, and a lot of renovation, as Bill was talking about.
All
And,
right.
and a timetable may be dependent upon the budget. We
Yeah,
may
that's what
want
I'm
it-
wanting, that's why
yeah,
I'm
We
asking,
may,
because I mean,
yeah, we're not going to go down, on Friday with a key and open it up, but maybe if you could peruse the budget and see what kind of monies are available, that may determine whether the timing of it now or in the future.
it is, budget this year is extremely tight at this point. If next year y'all wanting to do something with it, because I'm not sure, what it's gonna cost to get these bathrooms ADA compliant. And we'll have some other issues that we've got to take care of as well. So I just, just to get some timeline, if we can
Well,
get that, because I'm fixing to working on budget for next year.
Ella, I don't think we have a firm timeline right now. I think we have some more conversations to go through and a little bit more research in terms of costs, et cetera. And
Yeah.
an overall
The other-
plan. But I would,
The other thing, I'm
I would
sorry.
suspect, hopefully, we need to make a decision here fairly quickly on what we're doing and when. Because we can't just let the building sit there and become an eyesore.
Right.
And I'm sorry, guys, I have to drop off the call for another meeting right now.
Okay, Bill.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Ella, one possible suggestion, if it is possible, if in looking at the grand budget, can you identify if there is any money that is available to you so that some steps could begin? We may get all kinds of great plans and say, okay, we want to do this, that, and the other thing, and these bathrooms are going to cost 50 grand. Or if we start one of them, it's only going to be whatever. If you have any money in the budget that you can say, we have this available now, so that maybe the process could begin, as opposed to, hey, we want, 50 grand. When can we come up with 50 grand? Well, maybe if we come up with 5 grand, we could start, or 10 grand, and we could, go on forward. So if you could eyeball your budget and say, hey, here's some money in here we could begin with, that could get it started sooner rather than, later. Is that
Yeah.
possible?
Yeah, I can look, but I can't promise I'm come up with something out
No,
of
I'm not
Rabbit's hat. I mean, I'm just telling you up front.
Ella, unless, I'm not asking for any promises unless you're going to write us a check.
Well, good
mean,
luck
you.
with that one.
I mean, you.
Good luck.
All right.
One thing to keep in mind-
I'm sorry, Jim, start again.
One thing to keep in mind regarding our city budget is that it's always been a bare bones budget. There's a handful of things that we do and we do seriously, and there's a huge proportion of our budget is already committed to salaries. So to put together the visitor center, we're going to have to make an intentional effort to make this a priority. I mean, we've got money squirreled away in the budget in lower places, so we've got a little flexibility, but it's not a whole lot. So we just need to keep that in mind.
Well, I agree, and we have to be judicious. We have to be judicious in our planning and our spending. But planning begins with planning. Let's see, what do we've got? You can't go to war unless you know what you've already got. We may have grandiose ideas, but they may not be possible. So, some Buddha or somebody, Confucius said, a journey begins with the first step, which I think is, let's look and see what's available. And if we have any available, how do we use that and then go forward? Because we're not going to reconstruct the Taj Mahal down there within the next 4 months. It could take years. But what do we start with? And taking a skeleton and putting some meat on its bones and opening the door and turning on the lights, to kind of side with Bill. You got to do something with it so it's not an eyesore. And if it's sitting there empty, it's just going to deteriorate. So let's do something.
Yeah,
There are
let
people
me,
to talk to and work with to figure out what the first priorities are to do with the building. The other long pole in the tent is what we want to do exhibit wise. Not that that has to be done 100% when we open, but you know, I think that's going to be a key part of making the whole thing successful and attractive to people.
Well, I agree. That may
right.
be a little further down the road. If we put a plan together, that may be, you know, plan or step D, because we can open the doors without having an exhibit. Can we have a visitor center that grows over time? It gets better over time and prettier over time? Yes. Now, if you want to start sketching out ideas or what have you, that's beautiful. But I'm all for, let's take a step, and then we take step 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 5, depending on what can we afford at that time and how do we make it grow as we keep it open. One of the first things I would recommend that once we get the doors open is get a sign up that says Sky Valley Welcome, Sky Valley Visitor Center.
well,
Doesn't even say it anywhere in the building.
no, because we took it down when we closed it.
Okay, all
That's
right.
why it's not there. But also
Okay.
too, there is a new sign that we had built that we were going to use at the timeshare office. You've seen her new sign that she's put up. When all this fell through with them using their portion as the visitor center, they did not put that up when they put theirs up. So we already have a sign.
So we
that
have
can
one.
use.
Perfect. Step number 1.
It's already done.
First
Yeah.
expenditure, a hammer and some nails.
Maybe our second expenditure would be doors so that the handicap, it's in line with the handicapped requirements.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I believe that is step 2, that we do need a bathroom that's ADA compliant and a front door. Yes.
All right, there we go. Step 1 and step 2.
I think Harry was trying to say
Harry,
something.
what were you trying to say, bud?
I was just going to say that the planning stages could also be an enticement to our current tenants to stick around.
Exactly. Perfect. Yep, perfect. All right, and then if any of you over time, you know, jot down your ideas, your steps, your thoughts, and we can continue this conversation. And obviously, it's not just an initiative we have. We're just in support of, you know, the city moving forward. But I think our support of the idea is helpful to that. Okay.
Bob, can I interrupt for a minute? It looks like we've got 6 or so comments. Do we want to look at those now, or do you want to continue?
Sure. Why don't we do that? Ella, what do we got?
The only ones I've had have been private that I've responded to.
Oh.
Yeah, they've all been handed. Yeah, the
Okay.
only other thing was Debbie Dollhouse. The other ones are private that I've responded to privately.
Okay. We, I think, talked about this at the last meeting, but as we're moving forward, as the POA is listing real estate, I know that we have lots for sale that are owned by the city. How many lots do we have? And can we post them, list them, or whatever? Because there's one particular person I know that said, hey, there's a spot right next to me. If I had any idea what it is, when it's available, how much it is, I might actually buy the thing. So can we get an idea, a list of what lots are available for sale? Probably city-owned lots, and make those available or come up with a plan for that?
We are in the process of working on that. We have like 10 or 11 lots that once the courthouse is open, our city attorney is going in to do some title searches on them because we found out previously that some of them, the tax links had not been released. So he is going in to look at that hopefully next week and can give us an update on that. And then we can put them out for bids.
Okay,
Because I know there are some that people are interested in. So yes, but we've got to get those title searches done prior to placing them out for bids.
okay, well, that's understandable. 'Cause
The other
nobody
thing,
wants-
Bob, is,
Yes,
excuse me, Bob, I'm sorry. I am planning to present the State of the City address for the POA meeting on July 1st. I'm working with some real estate people, and they're getting me a report of the number of properties that have been sold, are still for sale, including houses, condos, and lots, and I will get you that information.
great. A question back to you, Ella, on the city-owned. Obviously, you've got to do your due diligence on that they're free and clear and what have you.
Right.
But you said open them up for bid. Can't they be listed like normal real estate and just sold to anybody?
We can actually do them either way. Our attorney has already advised we can either bid them out or we can just put them up for sale with a realtor. We have to watch what realtor we use. You know, we need to make sure
Yeah.
it's not somebody that lives up here and all this kind of stuff. So there's no questions about, oh, you're giving favoritism to this one, you know, or that one.
Right,
So you just
right.
have to be careful
Well,
with that.
My opinion on it would be, before we put them out to bid to some unknown entities, should we not make them available to our current residents so that if they want to buy the one next door, they can?
Yeah, we could do that if we think, you know, the only trouble is with where they're at. Some of them, you know, they may be above and want the one below and vice versa. So knowing who to contact with all of that could be time consuming, but yeah.
Well, if we just
The way
list them like, go
Excuse
ahead,
me.
Ed.
The way the government has done that is say if it was previously owned and they're back on taxes, then it has to be auctioned off at the courthouse steps in order to make it fair for everybody. If you choosing which real estate agent's going to sell them, you lose that objectivity in terms of releasing the properties. So be very careful when you make those decisions.
Okay, good point. But if we have some that are unencumbered, could we not just list them as a normal real estate lot? Make them available even through the POA real estate page. Let the community know that there are some lots that are available for sale, and they can do their own due diligence. Hey, it's here, it's next.
The listing we have now on the SVPOA site includes all multiple listings for those three areas. Properties with houses, available lots that people have put up for sale, and condos that are for sale.
Okay,
But those are choices by those individuals.
Yeah,
well, right, but what I'm saying is, the
we're talking
city
about
owns
city lots.
property,
Yeah, we've got like 11 lots, you're
and
correct.
if they're free and unencumbered, put them up.
Mhm,
And then
that's
people
correct.
can decide, do they want to buy it or not? Then it's out of our hands. And then maybe after a reasonable period of time that nobody has, you know, there've been no bites, so to speak, then maybe you can put them out somewhere else. But I'm for, if they're unencumbered, make them available to residents who might want to buy them. And maybe they don't want to buy the one that's right next to them. Maybe they just want to buy a different one. But let's satisfy our residents before we satisfy, you know, unknown entities that are, you know, maybe, I don't want to go to anything that may be negative, but I'm for making them available to the residents first. So, Ella, if you can, you know, poke at Doug and let us know as soon as you can,
Okay.
we can move forward with that.
Yeah, he's supposed to update us, I believe, next Tuesday,
Okay.
because he's trying to get an appointment to go in and check those out in the near future. Since the courthouse is not open until next week.
Got it. Now, one of the bullets, I think the last bullet on your agenda is improved internet. We all know we need it. Somebody had said yesterday to me that the internet or something by Verizon or T-Mobile or somebody, even in Atlanta, crashed. I mean, it like wasn't working at all. So I don't know if that affected us yesterday. But getting an electronic communications company to do anything, they don't do anything for emotion. They do it because there's money in it. And I think I may have mentioned my wife worked for AT&T for 27 years, and they won't do anything unless they know there's going to be a return on their investment. So although we have, 300 houses and we want better internet, it may be a tough row to hoe because they will only do it if they know that there's going to be enough customers that makes them money. Now, I know that the city council has that under their agenda, and I think from a community standpoint, if we don't get it, now I'm going to the other side, we're going to have a hard time getting younger families, younger people that can work from home and will work from home if you do not have connectivity. So Holly, on the council, I don't want to duplicate any effort at all, but do you have folks that are like digging down, drilling down to find out what can be done to solve that problem?
Earlier this week, Bob, the Mayoral Advisory Committee had several representatives who met with 4 representatives with Windstream. And so we are starting the process of looking for and investigating how we can get better internet service in the city. So we've already met with the first group and informed them that our marketing committee agenda, this was part on it, that if we're going to sell homes and advertise Sky Valley, we needed better internet service. So that conversation has begun, and we're going to meet with other companies also.
Perfect. And I think you had said, I can't remember if it was in this meeting or an earlier conversation, there are families after this COVID thing that are looking to get out of the city areas.
Right.
Some of it is for health reasons, and some of it is like, the back to basics. Let's get back where there's green and our kids can run around without fear of being abducted. So this could be a good time. I've told people that I think COVID virtually saved Piggly Wiggly, because Piggly Wiggly was done and gone on New Year's Eve. Then all of a sudden some savior came out and resurrected it. But with COVID, people were shopping there, and it's gotten to be cleaner and their products are fresher. And so this is one of the businesses that, in my opinion, COVID saved. It could also be where COVID could be one of our big helping step ups if we can capitalize on it now when people are looking to get out of the city. The concrete.
Several real estate agents have mentioned to me that there has been an uptick in the real estate sales, and they contributed to COVID, people wanting to get out of, just like you said, the cities and get to a place that's safe. And that's what they're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, good. Now I've got a couple of additions. We've already talked hotel motel tax. Got a text or an email through Karen from somebody who's noticed that Sky Valley is not even on the map of Explore Georgia. So I will contact Explore Georgia and find out what do we do to be part of them. A mention to Gordon and Harry. We got an email again or a text from some member of the community who was commenting on the country club's schedule of dinners and events. And this woman apparently lives here, but is a part-time resident, but said, with the way that the schedule of the club is, and I'm not intimate about that, and I wish I had a copy of it, but I think I deleted it, that it's not conducive to people that are younger that could come and go and come in and eat dinner and leave and whatever. So it's just a heads up to you guys, to the club, that you might want to look at whatever your schedule is, and I have no idea what it is, to how do you make it more conducive to people who are young enough to come, got the money to join, and increase the fiduciary strength of the club. Somebody else had said something about, and it seems to me, this is just my opinion, because I don't belong to the club, that it's a very closed society. I've been watching a show called Downton Abbey, if any of you are familiar with it, and it talks about over the years of the early 20th century, how the lords and the great manors and whatever basically killed themselves because they couldn't adapt to modern times. And all I'm saying is there anything you can do to maybe crack your doors open so that people would come and maybe want to join? And an example is sampling. You know, you go to Costco and you eat the sausage and then, oh man, that was awesome. I'm going to spend my money. That could conceivably happen for the club if on a rare occasion or maybe once a month, you have an open door dinner time. Make a reservation, come in, spend your money, give them some information on the club and hope they'll join. But I've heard, again, I'm just giving you my opinions, and you know, you can smack me in the head, it won't hurt me. It's like made of brick. That Sky Valley is viewed as snooty as a community. And within the community, the country club is a bunch of snooty people. And it's the haves and the have-nots. And in building your business, I've learned over the many years of being in business before I was a teacher, sometimes you got to go against the grain of what's normally been done in order to take the steps that'll build your business that nobody else will do. So I'm not asking for answers. I'm just telling you things that have been communicated to me, sprinkled with my own little opinion, and do with it what you will.
Bob,
Bob, you got us
Bob, let me
mixed up.
comment.
You got us mixed up with
All right,
Highland.
there's two people talking at one time. You can't do it. Raise your hand and then talk. All right, Harry, you're it.
You've got us mixed up with Highlands.
No, you're probably somewhat correct, except Highlands is snootier than Sky Valley. Gordon, what were you going to say?
There's nothing snooty about Sky Valley.
No, I think I'll comment on Harry's comment that the people that join always say how warm and friendly that we are, and it's almost the opposite. But we have to look at it. The second point you'd made about this woman who had talked about hours, those suggestions have been said to the club managers, the president, and they are discussing it.
Okay.
Comment that you had, the email was sent on, and the club managers are looking at that.
Perfect. Now, I do have a question. I heard again yesterday that Howard is no longer the president of the club. There's a new guy.
That's correct.
What's his name?
Roy Aiken.
Roy
Aiken.
Aiken.
He's online listening.
Yes,
Okay. Hi,
yes.
Roy. Okay. Again, you can shoot the messenger if you want.
Yes.
I'm just passing along what I've seen, what's heard, what's been emailed, what's been communicated verbally to me. And, you know, perception in marketing and business, perception is often reality. You may be right, and I'm not saying your people or any of your people are snooty, but if the perception in the real world is you are, then guess what? You are.
It is.
And what can you do to change that message?
I do like the idea of open houses. There are some suggestions that I think we
Okay.
should address.
Again.
And we've talked about that before. Yes.
I'm just passing along.
Yes.
Shoot the messenger if you want, or hit me in the head. I got a strong marble-laden skull.
I have
Okay,
something Bob, I have something I want to add it to the agenda if I can.
go ahead.
It just came to me. There's a part it's called the Mid-South Seniors Group, which is over the years, it's a very large group that visits Sky Valley, and they're coming here August the 3rd. And in the past, the 3A Marketing Committee has had an opening where they come in and they provide hors d'oeuvres and drinks for the first night, and typically the mayor would be involved. Last year it didn't happen, but it's have a real impact. A lot of people come here, they see it's a big event for Sky Valley and tourism, and the club is looking at is any way the marketing committee could be part of that, get involved in terms of the first night, Holly, and then possibly sharing some of the cost of a drink or hors d'oeuvres, because it's a big event.
Is this, Gordon, is this the people from Mississippi?
This is the Mid-South Seniors Group, your golf group,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
And they're going to be here August the 3rd, on a Monday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
How many people do you expect?
Harry, you might can add to that. I don't have all that information, but it's a large group. I'll get back.
Here's
Could be-
Harry.
Harry?
Yeah, upwards of 80 participants.
Okay, so ballpark 100 people. And you have this at the club? And when you say drinks and hors d'oeuvres, was it an open bar kind of a thing? Or you give them a ticket and they get one drink with whatever they want to eat? Or is that up to us?
Yes, that typically they would have hors d'oeuvres the first night. If they have dinner, they would have, yes, they would pay for their dinner, but it'd be something where the first drink would be, is typically the marketing committee. And last year, the club took care of it, but the three-way handled that in prior years.
Okay. What do the members feel? Is it something we want to look into? I think we can look
Where-
into it.
Where do these people stay, Gordon?
The various areas, yes. Some were timeshares, but they've spread out. I don't have that answer. They're spread out, B&B.
Do you have any idea on how much the marketing committee has contributed in previous years?
I will find out. No, I do not. This was just asked for me to look at this morning, and I don't have all the specifics. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'll
I
follow
think
up.
we normally contribute about $600 is what we've contributed previously
Okay.
From
That's a
the,
good
from the
ballpark.
city or marketing?
from the three-way. Yeah, I think we charge
Okay.
this to the three-way.
Now, Gordon, these people are coming to play golf and go home?
Yes, they come 3 days. They stay here for 3 days. Yes, there's a series. Yes.
Okay.
And they,
Um,
of course, go ahead.
Is there any information that these people are coming up here to look at real estate, buy real estate, or have done so in the past? Or are we just, liquoring them up because they came up to play golf?
I can't answer that, but the idea is that it is a group that look at potentially they could be buying property. It is a group that does visits every part of the country.
right.
so- But it
Can
only is
you-
one drink. It's essentially just, it's not a liquor, it's one drink.
Okay. I'm sorry, but I'm fairly blunt in how I communicate.
Yes,
I'm
sure,
not
that's
very-
okay.
I'm not very subtle, but I try to
Yes,
get to
that's
the point
fine.
pretty
I'm
quickly.
okay with that.
Can you investigate any information at all that would be helpful to us in making a decision as to whether this is good money to spend?
Yes, I can do that. It's a fair question. Yes.
Thank you.
And the
And then
cost.
we'll be sure to
I'll-
hear your comments and maybe decide at our next meeting and then decide if and when and how
That's a
much.
fair question. Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, I see Howard has made a comment. He said it's 80 golfers plus wise people who have the ability to buy a second home or return for another visit, is what he's
All right.
saying.
Okay, that's good information.
So
When
we're
you said
talking
this-
about 160 people then, right?
Yeah.
160 people.
Yeah.
Because when you said some seniors group, I'm like, and I'm physically challenged, so I include my, are we pushing them around in wheelchairs or are we? I'm sorry. I went one step too far with my filters. Okay, let's see.
Some people might have a problem with using city money to buy drinks for folks. But on the other hand, if that would come out of the earmark funds from the hotel and tourist tax, which is paid for by the folks in the lodgings, that's what our goal is to get people
There you
into
go.
Sky Valley.
Yes,
Got them
there you go.
here, put them in a good mood, show them a good time, leave with great memories like the rest of
But-
us have.
Jim, another thing to consider is the marketing committee is not just city money. It is conglomeration money. And I appreciate your concern and sentimentality for people. I don't share that. So maybe you and I are good
I don't
counterpoints.
have to agree on anything. Although
I
I know
still-
we do.
I still like you though. You're a nice man. Hopefully I'm nice, but maybe not. So I think it's something to look into, but I'm not concerned about somebody saying we shouldn't spend money on this. We can spend money on a marketing endeavor.
Okay.
All right,
fine.
Howard has just commented that the funds can also just go for appetizers and not the drinks if that's a
That's-
sticking
There you
point.
go.
There
Perfect.
you go.
Okay. If we have no more discussion on that item, I want to bring up I sent an email, I believe it was yesterday, of the survey that's being constructed. I think it's been an activity of the city council and possibly the POA, I'm not sure,
It's
Holly
the
shared it with-
advisory.
the advisory committee. So
Yeah, it's,
she was good enough to give it to us. I sent it to you. We can piggyback on it. Not a million questions, a couple of questions and answers that we want to get from our residents, but it's going to have to be done like now because they want to have it sent out in early July. We're not even going to be able to wait until our next meeting. So I encourage you to look at the survey, read it, and very carefully determine, is there really anything that we need to ask our residents that we really should get their opinions on? And not every single thing, not every minute detail, just what possibly can we add to it that would help us make decisions based on their opinions. And if you would maybe email me, let's do it that way, your question. I'd like to add this question, and here's how I'm constructing it, and here's my, the possible answers we're looking for, okay? Because again, this is not, here, let somebody else do it. You got an idea, you do it, pass it along. I'll summarize them if we have, 3 different topics that we really want answers to. I'll edit the questions and get them to that committee. But again, brief, succinct, complete, and quick. Harry, are you? Okay, Harry, we can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I have no comment.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. All right, any comments about the survey question? All right, just if you're gonna do it, get it done quick. It was brought up earlier in this meeting about signage, and I have that on my agenda, but didn't necessarily want to discuss it in depth today. But I think as part of marketing, and somebody brought it up, well, did you see the signs, going up to Highlands? Well, maybe I did, maybe I didn't. There's a lot of different images from the corner of 441 all the way up to the Sinclair sign, and some of them are country club signs, and some of them are, City Hall, and, welcome to Sky Valley in our elevation. And there's a few down there that, here's our new home base. And part of what I think we were trying to accomplish is, as much as possible, have a brand. And we got like 6 different brands coming up the hill. And therefore, I don't think people are paying attention to it. And some of them, quite frankly, are hard to read. I've always had a bugaboo about a sign. A sign can be pretty and even calligraphic, but if 12 feet away from it, you can't read the doggone thing, it's a waste of money. Because if the message doesn't get delivered, it's a waste. So I think for the future, and we don't have to have the discussion today, all of our different entities need to think about, do we want to consolidate our signage? Do we want to consolidate using our new agreed upon logo of coolest, highest city? Even to the point where maybe, that gets put in our vehicles. Oh, somebody brought up the idea of when we do have stickers, that we put them on all of our city vehicles. So we can discuss that when we finalize the stickers. But let's really look hard at what we have out there as signage, and are we delivering a message that sticks in people's mind? Look at any of the people that are marketing, or companies that are marketing giants. We recognize Coca-Cola because we've seen it for a long time, and the logo never changes. when they want to put out a new product that's not under, they obviously have other brands, but a Coca-Cola brand is always Coca-Cola. It's Coca-Cola Cherry, it's Diet Coca-Cola, it's Coca-Cola, whatever flavor they have, because they want to be identified with the company. And that's what good branding is all about. Same thing with Nike. They've gotten to the point where they've spent so many billions of dollars that all you have to see is what looks like what they call a swoop. And it immediately communicates what it is and what they're going to get for their money. They don't dilute it by having a swoop, a check mark, a star, whatever. So we need to think about, although we're different entities, we're really trying to benefit everybody and have the people out there that we're developing and delivering the message to recognize who we are, and not even in coming up the hill seeing 6 different brands and not paying attention to any of them. So I'm going to leave that for the future. Maybe gather your thoughts, and when we have a conversation about signage or consolidated signage or branding, we'll be prepared to do that. Okay, I'm done yakking and preaching. Is there anything else that people want to see, bring up, or put on the table for discussion next time? Perfect. I appreciate everybody, your hard work and your opinions, and that you all came prepared to discuss what we talked about, and we'll continue to do that to make progress, because that's how we make progress. The analogy I used in the very beginning was football. I played football in college, so it's my go-to at all times. In a football game, they have a meeting. It's called a huddle. No work happens in the meeting. Then they go out, and for the next 30 seconds, boom, 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 work happens. And then they come back and meet again, and that's kind of what we're doing. So our work really happens in between, and I appreciate you keeping up the good work that you're doing there. Okay, who's going to move that we adjourn?
I'll move.
Are we setting the date? Are we setting the date for another
Holly,
meeting?
yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm thinking 2 weeks from now would be 4th of July week, and I don't know about you, but I don't want to meet during 4th of July week.
Yeah.
We may have picnics and family and other things to do. So if we can we do Thursday, July 9th? I like Thursdays because it doesn't seem to conflict with anybody else. Can we do Thursday, July 9th at 10 o'clock?
Yes, that works for me.
I can.
You're actually going to be available to meet in person. If y'all want to do that, I will not be available then.
You won't be available for Zoom, or you won't be available for in person, or at all?
I won't be available at all for those, for
Okay.
that day. Mhm.
Do we want to keep Zooming, or do we want to try to meet in person? Who wants in person? Raise your hand.
Yes.
One in person. Who else? If you want Zoom, raise your hand. Okay, we'll still Zoom. I kind of like the Zoom because people that are not in the vicinity can still attend the meeting.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Anything else?
So the date is.
Well, a date,
July 9th at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
but Ella says she could not attend.
Okay, Ella, is that okay? Or do we need to do it on a day that you want to be part of it?
Well, if we're gonna do Zoom, we need her.
Yeah, I'm the one that has
Oh,
the Zoom
okay.
authority.
All right, so
sir.
are you available? All right, question. Are you available on Wednesday, the 8th?
I could do Wednesday the 8th as long as it's in the morning and it gets over in a timely manner.
10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yep,
works.
as long as I'm out by
I know
12.
this is, I don't know how long this one has been. I try to keep it
This
to,
one's 2 hours.
all right, too
Sure,
long.
2 minutes.
Make sure we move it forward. I'll keep the agenda shorter next time.
Okay, all right, June the
Wednesday,
8th
the
at
8th.
10.
Wednesday, the 8th at 10 o'clock.
Okay, all right, we'll get it
All right.
scheduled.
Okay,
Right.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Bob went silent on me. You went silent on me. Hold on. Unmute you.
I'm sorry. There we
You
go.
did. You were just a talking. I said, he went silent on me.
I gotta learn sign language so I can go like this. All right, if we're due anything or you need to send me anything or prepare anything for the next time, please do that. All right, good to see all your smiling faces.
Thank
Please,
you.
please check the group chat. Check the chat.
Check the
Okay.
chat. Anybody?
Yeah, it's asking, would it help for each committee member to consider the following? What process do you need to buy a home and move to Sky Valley? How did you first learn of Sky Valley? What attracted you to visit Sky Valley? Were you a guest of someone who
All
already
right,
had?
can you respond to her and ask her to type it as an email and send it to me?
Wait a minute, that's already on the survey. All of that is on the survey already.
Okay,
A great suggestion.
any others? Okay, let's say bye before they give us any new stuff to work on.
All right, I'll cut it out. Bye.
Thank you all.
All right,
Thank you.
bye-bye.